What is up, W Sports Podcast? Jimothy and Tubby, we are back again because it is almost Christmas time, and so schedules are a little tight. So this is going to be our one episode for the weekend. But maybe you were like, "Man, I was hoping for a couple extra. I wanted to get some more baseball news." Don't worry, we're going to kind of wrap it all in one gift for you today. So, one, thank you so much for subscribing to the show. If you haven't already, please be sure to do that. It's the best gift you can give us as podcast hosts this year. But Tubby, man, it's going to be a good holiday season. Welcome back to the show.
I know. This weekend's going to be fun and kind of nutty. We got the first 12-team playoff starting with the first 4 games. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, it's what we've been waiting for and asking, and here we are. And I've been thinking about this. There really is no better way for a college football playoff to win in an NIL era than
Yeah,
SMU to upset everybody and to say, we may have gotten the death penalty, but now that it's legal, we're good.
yeah, yeah. That would be hilarious if
The
that's what
ultimate.
ended up happening.
Yeah. It's a long road to get there. I don't quite see it,
Yeah,
but if it did, that'd be pretty great.
right.
This would be
You
the year.
never know.
Yeah. But we're going to get to it today. We got some cool things to go over. But the number one thing, I mean, if you're listening to it, you can't tell. But if you're watching us on YouTube, you can see Tubby's not even rocking the hat. He's got the locks. He's going, looks like Trevor Lawrence over here.
Got no hat this week. I was like, hey, let's change it up a little bit. Everyone's always used to seeing me in a hat. Let's just show off the nice little locks I've got going on.
Yeah, Tubby had long hair the first time I met him, like back in elementary school. So like this is just throwing it back here. No hat. He couldn't wear hats in school. So I don't know
Yeah.
if you can nowadays or not. But all right, so here is some hot topics. We are going to start with college football, some news and notes. So we're going to work our way through the NFL and then some MLB updates as we head in through the transfer portal season, winter meetings, and playoff crunch time. There's a lot going on, so we're going to hit it today. Number one is Michael Vick gets hired as the next head coach at Norfolk State. This is big news because we've seen the success by some of these other high-profile athletes who have
Mhm.
done it well. A good hire for Norfolk State, I would say absolutely yes, because
Yeah.
it's Mike Vick. But how good of a position do you think this is for him in the future to continue maybe doing more if he wants to, kind of like what Coach Prime has done?
I think it's good for him. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Norfolk State's there in Virginia. He's a big name in Virginia, went to
It is.
Virginia Tech. So I think he'll be able to stir up some interest around the state of Virginia for football, because we haven't really seen the state of Virginia be super relevant in football
No,
as of
not for a
recent, like they
while.
were, yeah, in the early 2000s with Virginia Tech, and how Beamer had them going. So I think it'll be interesting. I mean, I think it'll be good for him to start building his name, start out smaller, especially in a state where he's so known, well
Mhm.
known there. Be able to
Yeah.
get some of those guys in that area that maybe been under recruited in the state of Virginia and bring them up.
Yeah, I do like it a lot. And we'll see what happens. I mean, it's
Yeah.
FCS, I believe. FCS.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's Division three or not, but I believe it's
Yeah.
FCS.
Yeah.
And that was part of the reason why he went there and not the other one. I
Mm-hmm.
can't remember if it was Sacramento State or who it was.
Yes, it was Sacramento State.
Is much closer to home. I mean, that's
No, Portland
literally across
State.
Portland State. Portland
Yeah,
State. Okay, yeah,
Portland
literally
State.
across the country. So definitely made sense for him to do that, close to family, which I know is a big part of
Mm-hmm.
his life. From what we can tell, what we've read. The other one
Yeah,
is you talk about one coach going in with some momentum. We talk about another coach possibly on the hot seat. Is Ryan Day? Do you feel like he's actually coaching for his job this weekend?
I think he is, honestly. Sounds like there's a lot of buzz there in Columbus with the fact that Mike Vrabel is still available, and that they are pretty interested in bringing Mike Vrabel in as their head coach. And so I think that if he doesn't at least make it to the semifinals, he's
It's
out.
2 wins, people. Yeah, that
Yeah.
that is crazy. I mean, they do have a very talented roster.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Mike Vrabel, the Patriots. I mean, that is. I mean, the fact that he doesn't have a spot still is wild to me. Because look at the trash that is the Titans right now. I mean,
Yeah.
please, that was a mistake.
Yeah.
Some of the words. So obviously, we're excited. Sooners got their quarterback for
They
next
did.
season from Washington State, but there was a buzz that it was going to be Miami, and then all of a sudden, this other mystery team came in real heavy after him. I don't know if you heard about this one
Yes.
with North Carolina, getting Tom Brady on the phone, getting Bill Belichick calling him. I mean, Belichick was pulling no punches here, trying to get his guy. Thankfully, there's no visit to Chapel Hill happening.
No, it just shows that Baker Mayfield has more pull than Tom Brady.
That's all I'm saying. That's all. That's all we're saying. Because if those who don't know, Baker Mayfield was the follow-up call OU made and said, "Hey, you
Mhm.
got to get on the phone, call this guy, tell him why it matters to come to the Oklahoma University," and
Yeah.
it is huge. Love Baker Mayfield. But speaking of which,
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield just got another extension.
Yes, awesome for him. I mean, it's great to see Baker doing what he's doing. But I don't know if you saw the news yesterday with the whole Diego Pavia situation with the
Mm-mm,
JUCO.
mm-mm.
Now there's a ruling out that his 2 years as a JUCO do not count towards his eligibility for the NCAA, and so now
Wow.
he's able to play this year and potentially next year. And now it's looking like it's going to be a new rule to where JUCOs they can play 2 seasons in JUCO football, then turn around and play a full 4 years in the NCAA. And they asked Sarkisian about this, and Sarkisian was like, "I'm absolutely against it because we're going to have 28, 29-year-old adults playing in college football." And I'm like, well, if they take a normal route, you're talking maybe 24 at the most.
Yeah.
Besides, some of these weird ones that have got 7, 8 years because of the injuries, then the COVID year, all that stuff. But I'm like, guy, you started out in JUCO. You were a
Yeah.
JUCO, and
That does make
and
sense.
then went and played.
Yeah.
So I think I would figure you would be more excited and be like, yeah, these guys deserve a chance. And so I think it sets one big thing is these guys that aren't able to have the grades or whatever to go to call, straight into Division 1 FCS football
Mhm.
because they just weren't able to make the grades in college. Now it gives them a better shot to go, okay, I can go the JUCO route, build myself up, keep my profile as good, be really good, and then still be able to go play college football in the NCAA and Division 1 football.
Yeah, I think if you look at the side of it of, hey, just setting yourself up for even longer term success, not even to play football necessarily. Like, you love playing football, maybe that's the way that you get the education, but the ultimate thing
Mm-hmm.
is to better yourself and get the better education.
Yeah,
This is a good thing for that sentiment. The
yeah,
problem is, I'm pretty sure that everybody is only going to see this in the light of the NIL and the money and the transfer portal and all that stuff. But there's a really good piece, and I'm glad you highlighted
mm-hmm.
that, Tubby. That was a really, really good piece because honestly, at 18, how many of us are making the best decisions of our life? Most of us were
Exactly.
not, and we just need that time to, either get some more support, get a little bit of help. Maybe it's even just get our bearings, of what it's like to be an
Yeah.
adult in this world.
And I think that's another thing too. You brought up the NIL is that we're seeing less guys get Division 1 scholarships or getting, because there's so many people in the transfer portal. High
Hmm.
school players aren't getting recruited as hard as they were, before the NIL started. And so now those guys are falling through the cracks. And so then
Hmm.
they fall down to the FCS. Well, the guys that were playing FCS are now falling down through the
Hmm.
cracks. And now it gives them a chance to go play JUCO and keep their eligibility for NCAA, either whether it's FBS or FCS, and then eventually making that transition and showing, look, I was good enough to play. I just fell through the cracks. And I think that's
Yeah.
another situation where it helps out a lot too.
Yeah, I do like that. All right, well, let's move on. We'll go because if you came here like, hey, what was the picks? I missed this week's episode, but I came in today to get the picks for the college football playoff. Don't worry, we actually had those on our last episode, so we'll link that here in the show on YouTube, so you can go back and watch that one if you haven't, and make sure that
Then
you listen to it if you did on the podcast.
I'll go ahead and make up a video too, so you can see our picks. I'll throw
I
it
like,
on
yes,
YouTube,
thank you.
Instagram, Facebook, everything too.
Perfect. Yeah. Please put your picks in there as well. Had some comments on some of the last episodes. And it's just great. We want to see your
Yeah.
picks on there too, just to see how well we doing. I want to know who is saying State is about to lose a home game that they can't even sell out in the playoff. Please.
That's insane.
Um, you spend $180 million. You feel like you're gonna really, really love this piece of art or this new supercar, whatever it is, for $180 million. Better be something nice, private island. But no, in Atlanta, they say we are done. We are benching a 5 game stretch that led with 1 touchdown pass, but 9 interceptions. And
Yeah.
even Kirk Cousins says, "Bro, I don't know what's wrong. I'm cooked right now." And so
Yeah.
go ahead and give it to Penix, which I thought was a pretty big move on his part.
Mm-hmm.
The right thing to do. But we're finally going to get to see Michael Penix in a playoff push for the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great situation to throw him in there against a team like the Giants. A team that's not good.
Mhm.
2 wins so far this year, so it doesn't put as much pressure, I don't think, on Penix.
Mhm.
Going, okay, you're throwing me in there, and I'm playing, a NFC South team or something like that, and now it's going to really affect us whether or not we can get in. I think it was a great situation to put him in against the Giants, who, like I said, aren't good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you expect from him? Give me a stat line.
I'll say 200 yards, a touchdown, and maybe an interception just because it's going to be his first start. But I still think they're going to rely a lot on Bijan and Tyler Algier go in this game.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. The game, I believe, is at home for them. Let me double check. Is it at home?
I honestly don't know.
Yeah, it is at home. So weather's not going to be a factor, but run the ball, get the ball to Bijan, Tyler, give it a ton, let him do the play action. I think you'll really set him up to succeed. So I like the 200 yards touchdown. I'm not saying it's not going to be Cam Newton's rookie season game, nothing like that. But that does bring up the question though, Tubby. Would you rather have Kirk Cousins or Aaron Rodgers?
I'd rather have Kirk Cousins.
Why?
We have seen how bad Aaron Rodgers has been this year.
You're so biased, bro.
And I mean, this comes from a former Packer. You would think I would pick Aaron Rodgers. I have no ill will against Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
But I've said it before he even got traded. During the middle of his final season, Aaron Rodgers is not the same guy. And granted, Kirk Cousins has played bad this last stretch. But before that, Kirk Cousins was playing pretty decent football and was playing meaningful football.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers can't say that. He hasn't played meaningful football except for his last game in Green Bay against Detroit. So I don't think that Aaron Rodgers is, an NFL starting quarterback anymore.
Yeah, if you had to give me one, I don't really want either at this point. One, because Kirk Cousins does cost a lot of money, but
yes,
he's at least less dramatic. He's not on the media every single week, and that's part of the contract that Rodgers has with ESPN, the show that he's on. But I just don't want the extra drama. Kirk Cousins doesn't bring drama. I mean, he literally gets benched and says, "Yep, makes sense. I'm here to help out." But I will say, Aaron Rodgers did say he's willing to essentially mentor a new quarterback next year, just to stay relevant, I guess.
Trying to stay on that team where the owner basically said, "I don't want you anymore."
Yeah. I don't know. I could see him ending up somewhere. I mean, Las Vegas or just someone who's desperate.
Yeah, he won't be a Jet next year.
Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland.
Yeah. Which ESPN did do an article this week. It was each team's worst financial decision in the last, or worst football decision, GM decision, whatever, in the last 5 years. The top 5 were all quarterback related, and Deshaun Watson was number 1.
Makes sense.
Yeah, Bryce Young was still higher than I thought. He was in the top 5. And I don't know that you can say that at this point because even CJ Stroud doesn't look as good as what we hoped. Now, I think part of that's the offensive line. That's offseason discussion, but that's the realities. I don't know that the momentum is as bad for Bryce Young as what we thought.
No, I mean, was Trevor Lawrence in that because I mean, we can say that in 1 year, his rookie year, CJ Stroud has played better than Trevor Lawrence has, and honestly, this year, I mean, these last 6 games, Bryce Young has played pretty good football.
I know, yeah. So again, sit your rookie quarterback, sit your young guys, let them learn. I think that might actually help Penix in this situation, but
I think it will.
Quarterbacks sitting, not sitting. Patrick Mahomes got high ankle sprain. Should he play or not play against the Texans?
See, I don't think you should play this game just to let him sit, and then because you got such a weird schedule. Now you're playing on Wednesday, Christmas Day. Let him sit this game. Let him play the last 2 games. I see your point. I was initially like, just let him play, but he's been practicing fully, so it doesn't sound like it's as bad as it was a couple years ago in the playoffs, the injury. So I think that, helps him out a lot. And then I just think with the weird schedule, I mean, he's playing 3 games in 11 days. Where does that make sense?
No, NFL needs to fix that. That is garbage. There's a couple of teams like that. I say play, and as a Chiefs fan, but the reason why is because they are 2 games ahead, minus a tiebreaker. So it's really only a 1-game lead against the Bills, and the Bills have the Patriots twice to finish the year. So they have to put the pressure on the Bills. Because let's be honest, the Patriots are not beating the Bills team. I just don't see it. It would be a fluke, kind of like we thought it was a fluke when the Patriots beat the Bengals at the beginning of the year, but now we're starting to say, is it really a fluke, or the Bengals just really aren't that good? They were not good offensively that game, and I think now they would wipe the floor with them. But I just don't see that happening to the Bills. So the Chiefs have to win if they really want that bye week, and I think that bye week is still pretty important. Uh,
Yeah.
so that I hear you, and I
Mhm.
don't disagree with you. But I think if I look in the rearview mirror, I see those Bills are running fast and hard, dude. I've got to get ahead of them and stay ahead of them.
Stay home. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I understand that point also.
yeah. But never play out of fear. I hate that. Hate
No.
that because then you're playing not to lose. Go for the throat, cut, and
Yeah.
that's essentially what I'd like them to do. Um, all right, so let's do a little baseball news and notes here, real quick. Yankees they lost out on Soto, but I do think that actually sets them up to have better flexibility and moves
Mhm.
that they can make. One of them was Devin Williams, so they get a bullpen arm. Then they also go out and get Cody Bellinger,
Mhm.
who only played for a prove it contract, didn't really prove it, but here he is going to Yankee Stadium with that short porch. Give me a grade for each of these moves for the Yankees because I don't even
I,
think they gave up that much.
no, I love the Devin Williams move. Yeah, it is more. It could just be a rental because he will be a free agent after this year. But you gave up a guy, Nestor Cortez, who had no spot in the rotation
Hmm.
anymore. Once they went and got Max Fried, he had no spot in the rotation. You gave up a middle tier prospect, a couple of middle tier prospects for him. I think it's a great move. Devin Williams is one of the best closers in baseball. You had a problem last year closing out games. Clay Holmes ended up losing the job, and now he's not there essentially. But I think it's a great move. I give that one an A plus. I think it was an excellent move. The Cody Bellinger one I think is a really good move. Also,
Hmm.
you take now you don't make Judge have to play in center field anymore. He can move back over to right field, so it's less on his body as it would be playing in center field. And then on top of that, Cody Bellinger, like you said, the short porch. Yeah, his power numbers have been down since his big season with the juice baseball. But
Yeah,
I think you can look at what Juan Soto did, and I'm not comparing them. He's not Juan Soto, but Soto had five more home runs than he ever had in his career in a single season. So you do that, you get Bellinger closer to the 25, 80, maybe 90 RBIs. He had
hmm
79 this year. So I think that it was a good move because one, he's an excellent defensive outfielder, way better than Juan Soto. And then on
yeah.
top of that, I think that porch will help him out a lot. And you give him Aaron Judge there too in the lineup to
To protect
help
him. Hmm.
to protect him a little bit.
Yeah, you just cannot block. Don't block Dominguez. They've been doing that for
No,
quite some time, so they still need
yeah.
to find that path. But I do agree that I would have him play first, and then go still find a first baseman that has power. Excuse me, play center field, and then find a
Yeah.
first baseman with some power because they do need that. And I don't know that their first baseman that they have right now or Bellinger have the power numbers to
Mhm.
really anchor a Yankees lineup in a short left porch field or right field porch
Yeah.
that you need at first base. I don't think I just
Mhm.
don't know that he is without a juice ball. I think that's what we've seen, and not that
Yeah.
there's anything wrong with that. Like that's the reality.
No.
So I did like I liked both moves, especially for what you gave up. I mean, gosh, that was
Yeah.
great. Kyle Tucker to the Cubs. So that's
That's an
one piece,
interesting.
and then I have the follow up was they tried to go get Arenado. Made my I don't think Arenado's great at this point, but him blocking a trade to the Astros made my day. I saw that and I was like, oh, thank goodness, this is beautiful.
Yeah. And then the Astro fans, well, oh, thanks, you did us a
Yeah,
favor, and I'm
okay,
like,
bud.
okay, yeah, but you're not willing to pay Alex Bregman,
Yeah,
so who's going to play third base for you now? Isaac Paredes, which I mean, it's not a
yeah.
bad option, but still, you have that hole now that I think you'd much rather have Nolan Arenado there than Isaac Paredes,
Mhm.
there. So yeah, I thought that was hilarious. The Kyle Tucker trade, I think it was a good trade for both sides. They got the Astros got a up and coming prospect there in, in the
Mhm.
trade along with Paredes, and then Tucker going to Chicago. I think gives them a really big offensive bat that they don't have in that lineup because they've done a decent job getting some starting pitching, but they just don't have the offense right now. This offseason. So I think that was a really good move. But the one thing that kind of made me scratch my head was they said they're not sure if they want to extend Kyle Tucker, which I thought was weird.
Yeah, I don't know if I get that one. I imagine they will. It's the weirdest thing. I feel like it probably has to do with money. The Cubs are in one of the biggest markets in the entire
Mhm.
United States, and they spend money like they are in St. Louis or not even Kansas City.
Tampa.
That's probably yeah, Tampa. Like, what are we doing? You
Yeah.
have the money, go for it. Or Miami. Miami might be a really
Yeah.
good example.
Yeah.
And people love baseball in Chicago, so I don't understand it. But I don't like Kyle Tucker because he's an Astro. I don't like the Cubs at all. So like this is just makes sense. But him saying no, yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. I saw someone was like, "Oh, it's because he's holding out, hoping the Dodgers will make the move." And I'm like, I don't
He
think
already
that's
said no to
happening,
the
guy.
Dodgers, I thought. Or
No,
the
the
Dodgers said
Dodgers
no.
said no to him.
Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah, they looked at his bat swing, his bat path. I don't know if you looked at any of those advanced analytics, but it's a really big swing. It's really slow. It leads to a lot of singles and maybe some doubles.
Yeah, I mean, the situation comes up. It's like, okay, then what do we do with Max Muncy? You know, then we have to find someone for Muncy if the Cardinals don't want Muncy. You don't have anywhere else to play him because you don't really want to play him at second base because he's not a great second baseman defensively. So you can't play him at first, can't play him at DH. So where would you put him? That was the big question.
Yeah.
When it happened, and I think Dodgers looking for another outfielder, hopefully Teoscar, and starting pitching and bullpen, and that's about it.
Literally everything except Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman's spots. Got got it. And honestly, if you pay them up, they might actually play those spots too. Like we put 3 guys in the outfield. It's like bench warmers.
Yeah.
We have 3 adults. You guys get your little league team. We're gonna try and win. It's gonna be close.
Hey, I'm all for it.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts, things for this weekend's episode? Then we'll be back early next week.
We did have someone guess the correct player.
Did they really?
Jersey. We had someone yesterday on YouTube.
Let's go.
And it was a former Jersey winner. Our last Jersey winner, Carson Hearn, guessed Lenny Moore.
Wow, nice. Okay, so no more hints. So it's Lenny Moore. So, I was not even on my radar.
Yeah, as I said, this was a tough one, and I was really shocked whenever I clicked on it and I saw it, and I was like, wow, someone actually got it without giving the most obvious clues that I was going to give this next week. Whenever it happened, I was like, wow, that's some good diving in and finding it. So congrats to Carson. You get 3 extra entries into this coming giveaway, and we'll do hints again next month for the next jersey, and going forward we'll try to do the same.
Yeah. So again, if that doesn't mean he won the jersey, it just means he gets 3 extra entries into it. And the easiest way to get your name entered, if you haven't already, or maybe you didn't guess it right, is just to make sure you're subscribed to the show. Make sure that you have subscribed, like public, at least for us, or you message us, say, "Hey, I'm subscribed. Here's the proof." So that way we don't miss the opportunity to have you win this jersey here in this month, because we'll have another one coming up next month. You guys are incredible. We thank you guys so much for supporting the show, for listening, for downloading, and for sharing it with someone else. It really goes a long way. We're grateful for every single one of you guys. We hope you have a really great Christmas Eve weekend. We'll probably have one more episode to recap college football playoffs and maybe some of the, honestly, it's an ugly matchup weekend for the NFL. There's like 2 good games at that. It's a lot of losing teams against losing teams. But we'll recap everything hopefully early next week. But till then, we'll see y'all next week.
See ya.
See ya.